Hello everybody, welcome back to Rory Story Cubes. Immediately you will notice a difference, that being that the background is no longer red and white. I still have the same tablecloth, but I've put like a shirt on top of it, so it's not so extremely wild to look at. It's a lot calmer, I think, this nice grey shirt that I've got lying down here. Lovely grey shirts. Alright, other than that, we're just going to do the same thing as we've always done, and we'll continue to do. We're going to do 3 stories based on 9 different dice rolled each time. And then we'll see what we can make. Of course, you can play along if you pause the video when I've got all 9 dice lying about for you to peruse. Make sure to pause the video there and come up with your story. And I'm gonna go see what I'm gonna do today myself. Let's see, this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And this one makes it 9. Ooh, a brain. Alright, now I'm gonna put these away for a second. For the next round, let's roll some of these. Hopefully the shirt will stay in place, because sometimes these things shift a little bit. But at least it's calmer on your eyes, I think. That is, I hope it is. And there's also less noise. Okay, this one went off screen. Here we go. Somebody looking at a small person. This person is thinking. This one is suspicious. And this, oops, that was medicine. There you are. Next 5. And this is a strand of DNA. This is a note of music. This is a ray gun, always one of my favorites. Here's a shooting star and a hand coming out of the ground. Alright, so you know the drill. Make sure to pause the video here so you can take a look at these dice. Come up with your own story, post it in the comments below. I'm gonna go take a look what we can do with this. There are a few of them that already connect fairly well, I have to say. Let's see now. Once upon a time, oh, that's one of those things that happens now with a shirt, everything starts to wrinkle. There we go, don't move them around too much. Okay, so once upon a time there was a scientist. There he is. He liked to think. He liked music, and he wanted to be better at music, so first he wanted to experiment on himself to try and make himself a better musician so that he could be a star instead of a scientist. Because being a scientist is cool and all, but most people don't think you're much of a rock star, and a lot of people think that your work is really boring, and they may be correct in some days, but other days there are some really exciting discoveries to be made. Anyway, so he made a little potion for himself, and he tried that out. He managed to get some DNA from one of the rock stars in Hollywood. It was a really tall guy. His name was Tall Bob. Not Tiny Bob, because that would be funny. Anyway, so this guy was a really big star, literally. So he figured he needed his DNA to make him just as big of a star as the rock star. And he used the DNA and he made a little potion. There you go. And after the potion was ingested, he made sure to zap himself with some extra electricity, because that usually made things better. At least that was his personal theory. Some people, his fellow scientists, tended to disagree. But he thought it worked. And after a while, he stopped zapping himself and he looked in the mirror and was actually kind of surprised, because instead of being this big, he was just his old self again. But he wasn't quite sure what happened. I mean, something must have happened. He had like the thing, and he had everything set up, and he shot himself with a ray gun, and everything was fine. I mean, he got the DNA, the best ones he could find, and like Big Bob over there, he was the biggest star he knew. So how come that didn't work? Well, that went on for a few weeks. At least he tried it a few more times. He thought maybe he needed to repeat the process, so he did this thing like a second time and zapped himself, blah blah blah, etc. Like a few more times. Why the heck not? And after a week or so, he stopped because he noticed that his hand was falling off, and that was not good. Turns out that the stuff he was making, this out of the DNA, it was trying to make him as tall as Tall Bob over here, but he couldn't grow fast enough. So his limbs actually, they became very loose. Like the cells were trying to grow really quickly, but the bone wasn't going fast enough, so actually his limbs got really floppy, and he ended up like getting caught on a door at one point and then just kind of tore his hand off, which was really gruesome actually. Kind of gross. So he had to stop, and also shooting himself with electricity to speed up the process was not helping. So he had to go back to the drawing board to fix himself, and of course he was not very happy. All he ever wanted was to be a star in the musical industry. Instead, he spent the next several years writing reports on his research, which was very interesting for other people who were looking to try something similar. It was like a maybe your life is just a warning for others type situation. If you've ever seen that demotivational poster, and in this case, it was him. That's right. So he spent times recuperating and making research notes on what he had done, which was very useful for other people. Unfortunately, this never actually got better. He got a little bit better, but never really was the old same scientist person he was before again. But he learned his lesson, and he decided to just try practicing singing instead of zapping himself, because maybe that'll get him a star position sooner or later. And eventually he did manage to get on a talk show to talk about his experiences. One of those shows like Jerry Springer and whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. Well, you know the type of show that I'm talking about. That they call him on and everybody's oohing and ahhing at his misfortune, and oh, they're so sad that he didn't manage to make himself a rock star, and ooh, that's so interesting to try that, and you're so brave, blah blah blah. Of course, at the end of the day, he only got like I don't know, an extra research grant out of it because people were feeling sorry for him. But of course, it didn't fix his problem, and he went back into anonymity and never actually became a star. Unfortunate. Many years later, of course, his research was used for other things, but that was way after his unfortunate, untimely death, because other things had grown as well, including his heart, and his cardiovascular system did not manage to keep up. So he was actually quite tragic in a way. Well, in many ways, actually. He died quite horribly. So let's just continue on to the next story, because my mind is going places I don't think you want to hear. It's really not a good place. So that was him. Put the dice away quickly. Before we think of more gruesome details on how this person died, I'm going to grab 9 more. And we'll see if that's maybe a happier story. I mean, we've been doing some bad things today. Why not have some good ones? Let's see what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 1 too many. Goes back into the bag. Alright, let's go and roll these dice. Skull is staying behind. There we go. And this is his warning sign, and this is an abacus, the galaxy, a chess piece, a lever. Always nice when you got the galaxy. You can go space traveling with an abacus. And here is a person. I think they're fighting, these guys. They look like they're fighting. Hamster wheel and a ball and a person pointing. Alright, so make sure to pause the video here, come up with your own story, post it in the comments below. I'm gonna take a look what I can make out of these. Well, in a place far, far away, there was a spaceship which was powered by a hamster wheel. And there were only 2 occupants, and they each had to take turns to run on the hamster wheel. Here they are. And they would fight regularly on whose turn it was, because they would keep time or track of time with an abacus, and occasionally they would try to trick each other into claiming that the other had still like a few more minutes left to run so that they could rest a little bit longer. And they did that for quite a while, because they were going around the galaxy trying to discover new places and all that sort of thing, but their spaceship was a little bit, I mean, it was one of those economical ones, like self-powered ones that you don't need to bring a whole bunch of rocket fuel with you. It's just like a thing, you have to keep things in motion. They called it free energy, but of course you need to spend a lot of energy to make energy. It's just a slightly different type of energy. Anyway, so one day they found a planet that they wanted to land on, and they lowered the spaceship using this lever that's like up and down. You know, it's quite easy. It's a very simple place. And the landing itself, though, wasn't very smooth. They bounced around a little bit. This is their spaceship, by the way. But once they stopped, after blaming each other, they managed to get out and take a look around. And the first thing they found was a sign that warned them of people that lived here. People had come here before from the galaxy and checked them out, and they found that the people who lived here were addicted to playing chess, and if you were to come across one, they would be very friendly, but they wouldn't let you leave until you had finished playing a game of chess with them. And of course you're thinking, well, that can't be too bad, but have you ever seen like 2 chess masters play each other? They take ages to finish a round, and then it takes even more ages to finish the actual game. So you could very well end up stuck on this planet for years, and if you try to walk away, they will blast you because they have a different type of leveler. And if they pull that lever, your spaceship will be destroyed, and that'll be the end of you. So the two of them were very careful not to encounter anyone. They got back on their spaceship, and they launched off once more, back into the galaxy. And once they saw that horrendous planet, they decided never to argue again about who was going to go onto the hamster wheel next. They made sure to keep track of their activities precisely, so that the other would not have to run more than they, and vice versa. And so they spent many, many more happy years this time, exploring the galaxies and discovering many strange and wonderful things and planets and people on them. The end. There, that was happy, right? At least we didn't have to play a whole game of chess. Alright, I'm gonna put these over here. Oops, sorry. Now, of course, there's people out there who love playing chess or like scolding me for saying, at least you don't play a game of chess. I've never really liked the game myself because I'm not very good at it, and that's usually a reason why people don't like things, because they're not good at them. Same thing when you have like school subjects that you really don't like, it's probably because you're not good at them. Alright, let's go grab a few more dice for our last story of today. These might be 9 in them. Let's take a look. Oops, that was 1. There. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That guy has the measles. Alright, let's go and roll these dice. This is 5 of them. There. That's somebody knocking on something. This is a flute. We haven't had a flute before. A sheriff's star. A chest with something inside. A cracked egg. Could be anything. A circlet. A bird cage. Planet Earth. And band-aids. Like Earth Aid. Like these two together. Okay, pause the video here. Come up with your own story, post it below, you know the drill. I'm gonna go see what I can make out of these. I hope that none of the stuff that I've used to indicate the border of the screen has been lying in view the entire time. Although I should know what I've been doing. Well, that's not terrible actually. Then maybe I'll show you. Hang on. In order to figure out how big the area is where I can roll dice, I put like things just along the edges so that I know where the dice need to stay. Like here's a marker over here on this side. See, marker. Woo. And the other side is a makeup brush because I need like long straight things, and this one's long and straight and all that sort of thing. There you go. And that's where that's basically all I need to know where I need to roll the dice. Okay, so that's a little bit of meta behind the scenes stuff. I need to take a look what I can do with these dice. Kind of threw me off now talking about the stuff around my screen. Okay, so we have somebody knocking, we have a flute, we have a star, we have a chest, we have an egg, we have a circle, we have a bird cage, we have the earth, and we have band-aids. Let's see what we can make out of this. Currently not much, but let's just get started. There was once a magic chest, which everybody wanted to find, particularly this guy wanted to find it. He had been exploring the world for many, many years, and he knew that inside the chest there would be a magical item. It could be the egg of the phoenix, could be in there, or it could be a magical circlet, which gave you omnipotent intelligence, or it could be this flute, which, sorry, punched the table. Didn't mean to do that. It could be a flute that lets you summon all sorts of wondrous creatures that'll do your bidding, etc., etc. So he was wandering the earth, looking for wherever it may be, and he searched all over the earth. Eventually he ended up in Africa, right there. Just below the Saharan desert there was a temple. He managed to find it, and not many people had been there before because they kind of missed the entrance. It was covered under a lot of moss. Is there moss down there? Well, there is over there. That's why it was so strange and nobody ever went inside, because it was so outlandish. Anyway, so they never went in, and he found that there were a lot of traps there. This is going to stand for traps. And he managed to actually get wounded a few times. Of course, he did bring some band-aids so he could fix himself up. And he found a door marked with a silver star, which to him meant this is the place. And indeed, when he went in there, he found the chest. The only problem was he didn't know how to open it. So he was a little bit stuck. Instead, though, he had another bright idea. He figured he would take the chest with him all the way across the world to find someone who could open it for him and maybe uncover one of the 3 mystical items. These 3. And a very long time, it took a very long time for him to get home, first of all, because it was a quite heavy chest. So that kind of ruled out the flute, because the flute probably wasn't going to be that heavy, and the circlet probably wasn't going to be that heavy either. And indeed, it turned out to be the phoenix egg when he found somebody who could open the chest. Ta-da, chest is open. And the phoenix immediately bonded with him, because birds tend to do that. They look at the first thing that comes, that they see, first creature, when they come out of the egg, and that is then their parent. At least some bird species do, not everybody that does that apparently. And he put it in a cage, and he taught him to say all sorts of funny words, and every once in a while it would burn up because it would get old, and then it would just rise again from the ashes. And he had a wonderful little pet that everybody came to see, and came to admire and adore. So all's well ends well. He had a successful mission. It took a few years to open the chest, but then he had a great pet to show off to all of his friends and family. There, that was a great adventure, and those were 3 stories. Hope you enjoyed them. Some of them were happy, some of them were not. And this one was definitely a lot more fortunate than the other 2. I'm going to say thanks for watching. Leave your stories in the comments below. I will see you next time, and bye bye for now.